Okay, welcome to part 2 of Rochester Quadrajet teardown. We're going to continue on from where we left off. Inside this chamber right here is a small spring. This is where your power piston seats. And inside there is a small spring. Provided I can get it out. There we go. Do not lose it. It's very important. Make sure it's not stretched out. Oh, there we go. Dropped it. So, all right, I'm going to do it the easy way. There's your spring. Do not lose that. It is very, very important. You really can't find them anywhere. There are a few carburetor suppliers out there that may have them. You can use an Edelbrock spring. Just trim it down a little bit. You just got to make sure it's the same tension as the one that's required for this, for your carburetor. Next thing we're going to remove is your secondary baffle plate, which is this right here. They're not very difficult to remove. They just sit down on these slots in here. Sometimes they stick. Try not to bend it, but definitely don't force it out. But sometimes just take a pair of pliers or something and pull up on each side slowly until it gets out of that body. All right, on your air horn, you want to flip it over and see all these lovely little tubes in here. Well, they're very important. These bigger ones, medium-sized ones here, they're your secondary accelerator well tubes. These are your main well bleed tubes, and these, which you're not going to see in every Quadrajet, very few of them, are pullover enrichment tubes. I'm going to get more into them in a later video, and I'll explain what they do, the purpose of them. But for now, they're coming out of the air horn, and you've just got to make sure that they're not clogged up. These two clog up all the time. So what you want to do is just clean them up. If you got a sonic, ultrasonic cleaner, put them in that. Run a wire through them, just get all the garbage out of it. Okay, next step is to remove your butterflies. To do that, turn your carburetor over. You're going to take a cold chisel and you're going to knock the ends off these screws. Your primary butterfly, these will usually come right out. You really don't got to knock the heads off. You're going to wind up replacing these screws anyway with some nice shiny stainless steel ones just because it looks better. Purpose also is inside here there's a little plastic cam that runs off this shaft. That's the cam that actuates your secondary hanger and secondary rods. Just because of age, it's best to replace it. Your standard parts store kit isn't gonna have one. You need to get it from an actual builder. I sell kits for it that come with it. There are several other people out there, Quadrajet Power, Cliff Ruggles, they all sell them. But I also sell the kits with that part in it as well. So if you need a kit, give me a shout. Okay, well, we got that cam out and it pretty much just disintegrated. So we're gonna put a new one in. And if you choose to leave it in, if you put it in some cleaners like Berriman's, that little tiny plastic cam is just going to turn to dust. So best bet is to take it out, try not to let it break, or just know it's going to break and get another one. We're going to take the jets out. It's just 1, 2 jets. And we're going to make sure that they're clean and there's no dirt behind them. All right, we got them out. When you get them out, you want to maybe try to clean them up a little bit, and you can see the size that's stamped on there. I ran this one just over a wire wheel, and hopefully you can see it, but they are 70s. So make sure you know what size jet your car's engine is going to need, and try to build accordingly. Okay, home stretch here. Now you're going to take out your mixture screws. If this is your carburetor, or if you're building it for somebody else, before you take them out, what you're going to want to do is run them all the way in and count the turns of how far they are out. Just run it until it stops and count the turns. And it's really hard to do that when you're trying to hold the camera. So just run them in. Can't remember how many turns it was to stop, and then just run them all the way back out and put them aside to be cleaned. Both of these have to be an equal amount of turns. So this one's 3 turns from stop. This one has to be 3 turns from stop. So many carbs have been brought into my shop and they say, oh, I just rebuilt it and it's not running right, and I tried to dial it in, and I'll see this is like 1 turn from stop and this one's like 5 turns out. So, you know, one side's running super rich and the other side's running super lean. That's a big no-no. They've got to be equal. Okay, once you have that, just remove the base plate, which for this carburetor is just these 2 screws right here, which I've already taken out. Sometimes there's a third one up here, but that's for later model 80s carburetor, 80s E4MC computer controlled feedback quadrajets. So once you get this off, make sure you take the gasket with you, throw it away, get all your old gasket material off. Now, these little boogers, these are your well plugs. If you ever had a Quadrajet and every morning or every time it sat for more than, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 hours, and you just sat there and crank, and it cranked, and you swore and cussed and spit and why won't this piece of junk start up, and then it fired up, it's because fuel leaks out of here. There's 2 ways to fix it. You can actually get a kit, and it's got new plugs and a tap, and you can drill these out and you thread them in and put a new plug in it. Or you can use marine grade epoxy. Don't use JB Weld. Don't use JB Quick. Don't use 2-part epoxy. Don't use Insta-Steel. Don't use super strong plastic 2-part epoxy nonsense. All that stuff that as soon as the gas hits it, it's going to melt it right off. Marine grade epoxy. Marine Tex. Best stuff out there. I use it. It stinks to high heaven, and it's blue. When you mix it up, it's blue. So that is about the only kind of epoxy I will recommend to use is Marine Tex. Okay, moving on. Your base plate. Oh, this thing is so gross and so dirty. This right here, this theft, is the biggest reason people hate Quadrajets. Mostly because they don't understand them. You have a return spring on here that's put pressure on this shaft. This plate is made of aluminum. So over time, this steel shaft will sit there and waller out these ends right here. So what happens is you develop a vacuum leak, and it's mostly your idle tip in. So right when you come off idle, right when you're taking off, and this is why everyone calls them Quadrajets, Quadrabogs, Quadra Sludge, Quadra Junk, Quadra Garbage, Quadra whatever. They're great carburetors. You've just got to install bushing in here, which is covered in another one of my videos. Go look back on it and you'll see everything that's involved. Best way to tell is just open it up at 1/4 throttle and shake it. You should hold the base plate with one hand and shake this with the other, but I've only got 2 hands. So take my word for it, it's loose. If it's a Quadrajet, 9 times out of 10, well, like 99 times out of 100, it's loose, needs a bushing. They sell them in kits. They're pretty easy to install as long as you know how to drill. You'll be fine. All right, well, that about wraps it up. I'm not going to tear down the base plate. If you want to see how to do that, go to my other video. This is off to the bath, and then it is going to have a color treatment applied to it. Not paint. I do not paint carburetors. It absolutely irritates me when people look at my carbs and see all different colors and they say, oh, that's paint. No, it's not. It is not paint. Powder coat. So, yes, I'm going to powder coat this one. I know a lot of people are screaming, oh, sacrilege, and, you know, oh, it's got to be plated. I do plate them. I plate a lot of them. This one, I just want to see what it looks like plated or powder coated. I've got a nice, it's called Illusion Dorado. and it is a very almost candy gold. And the base plate is going to be powder coated in chrome. Yeah, chrome. I've done some other carburetors in it, and it looks awesome. So I'm going to try it on a Quadrajet. So keep an eye out for part 3. I'll probably be shooting that in a week or two. And like and subscribe. And if you like foreign performance, Japanese performance, JDM, anything by Honda, Toyota, Acura, Scion, and want to see a really cool Del Sol being built, check out my buddy Sucat's page, S-U-C-A-T. He's building a really cool Del Sol, has a lot of foreign performance tricks, and check his page out. Also, if you like gaming, he also has a gaming page, all kinds of video games. Check out Sucat Gaming. And as always, if you like my videos, leave a comment, thumbs up, no thumbs down. We don't need the negativity. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. I post these videos as an informative for people that are DIYers that want to learn how to do it. But I also rebuild carbs myself, obviously. So if you look at this and decide, whoa, that's too much, I don't want to get involved in that, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to build it for you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. And watch for others. And please, again, like and subscribe. Thank you.